Allen set an NFL mark with 3 touchdown passes and 3 touchdown runs by Stafford and the Rams, hold the Buffalo Bills to a 44-42 win. It was an incredible game by Josh Allen, man. Completed 22 out of 37, 342 yards. Like I say, 3 touchdowns. And Matthew Stafford, man, he's still a baller, bro. 23 out of 30, 320 yards and 2 touchdowns. Solo, talk to me, man, about this game, bro.
Yeah, like that game, I had a feeling it was just a weird game from the beginning, man. Just so weird. The defense seemed like once the plane landed in LA, the defense stayed on the plane. The offense got off the plane. The defense stayed on the plane. Special teams stayed on the plane too. So, and I know a lot of Bills fans are not as frustrated because the game didn't mean as it's not a do or die game, but still they had to win that game because they were trying to catch Kansas City for that number one asset. But the actual game, I don't know why on earth they kept playing that zone defense the whole time, and Matthew Stafford he was just killing them. And then like none of our players on defense played a good game. Von Miller, waste of money. Uh uh Rousseau Douglas, he was burned on several occasions. Plus he had committed so many penalties. He just can't keep up, man. Cooper Cobb and they just they just couldn't keep up. So the special teams has been a problem for the Bills for the past couple of years. So the offense, I have no problem with the offense, but the special team and the defense and coaching cost the Bills that game. The special teams they gave up a punt for a touchdown. They have a punt block for a touchdown. Uh on the last final play, and I'm not saying they could have recovered that ball. They were playing 9 men. You're allowed to have 11 in case they forgot. How can I have 9 players? That's it.
You know what's
So
crazy about that? Is you would think McDermott will know the difference between 9-11s with his
Right.
comments last year.
you know what? you know
Go
what?
ahead.
I would I would rather my team have a penalty for having 12 men and not nine, having nine. Come on. So they made a mistake right there. And then the clock management towards the end, I mean, it's iffy. I heard his press conference today. He was trying to explain what was his thinking, how much time was left when he made Josh Allen run and all that. I, I don't think that's a big deal. But the special teams, I'm worried. The two playoff games they got knocked out the previous couple times, they lost those games because of special teams. Like the Kansas City last year, it was special teams missing that field goal. Even yesterday, special team they just had so many blunders throughout that game. The offense played great, even though they were missing their number one and number two receivers, Kincaid and Kian. But the defense they just didn't show up. I'm not very worried because normally they play well. But
Right.
the only concern I have is what happens if that kind of defense shows up in a playoff game, which is one and done. Know what I mean? So I don't know. I mean, Josh Allen was Superman like always. And where was the running game? James Cook was nowhere to be seen. Red Davis was nowhere to be seen. Uh, and I know it was a different kind of game plan. So they let Josh Allen throw the ball more than they do. And I was surprised the way the Rams came, how they started that game. I thought they was gonna slow the game down so they could keep Josh Allen on the bench, but they were playing fast. They were scoring back and forth. It was I mean,
Right.
if you're a neutral fan, that was an exciting game. But as a Bills fan, I wasn't happy with the defense, the way they played, and I know they can fix it. Um, and for the first time, this is the healthiest they've been. Matt Milano is back, and they had all their players back, and they put on that showing wasn't impressive. But and then they have to play Detroit next week, who has another powerful offense. So if they play the way they played yesterday, You're gonna be another bad night.
Right. So do you think that I mean, Lena, before I let you go, man, I just got one question. You say that because they let Josh Allen throw the ball much. Because throughout the game, you guys basically was playing the catch up. So Josh got to throw the ball. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
but in the first half, you gotta establish the run,
Right.
And I know the Rams, they couldn't stop Josh either, just like the Bills couldn't stop Matthew Stafford either. So the Bills were comfortable throwing the ball, and yeah, like you said, they're playing from behind. But still, you gotta establish because the running game helps with so many things. It sets up your pass. It also keeps the other team's offense on the bench. If you can hold the ball for 8-10 minute drive and come up with a field goal touchdown, it shortens the game. Come on, the game was 44-42. That's not a winning formula when you're playing a desperate team that is
Right.
trying to make the playoffs, and your team already made the playoffs. You're just sleepwalking through that game like it didn't matter. And I was kind of upset last week when the Bills made the playoffs. Josh was like, "Oh, you know what? We have accomplished one of our goals. Now we can play freely." And then he corrected himself later on. He goes, "Well, we have something to play for." So I think a lot of these players were like, "You know what? We made the playoffs. This game don't mean nothing. We're probably gonna end up as number 2 seed anyways."
Damn, Lino, what this got to happen right now? Because this normally happened to the Buffalo Bills at the end of the season in the playoff. This is the kind of loss to lose in the playoffs, man. Now it's happening in regular season. It's not
So
that
that's
fun.
good.
You know, what I mean, no, it's not that fun because when it happens in the playoff, we all know, like, okay,
Why
this
they
is the
can
kind of
because
this is
now
kind
they can fix
of
it now.
right. You know, that's why it's not good because this is the kind of stuff that your head coach do during the regular season. I mean, during the playoff. This is the kind of defense that show up for mostly for your playoff games that you guys
No,
lost.
no, no.
You know,
Even in
I'm
the
just saying.
playoffs, they've never given up that many points in the playoffs ever.
But
Not
but
not
Lino,
not with this current team.
let me get Lino's take on this game, yeah, because I also want to ask you questions about the Rams, like the offense, because I think they're one of the best passing offense in the league with Matthew
If they're
Stafford back
healthy,
there.
yeah.
With yeah, you know. So Lino, take me, man. What's your point or what's your view on this game?
I just want to take a small victory lap from our season preview when I said my dark horse team would be the Rams to make the Super Bowl because
Right.
when they're healthy, this is the team I kind of envisioned them having. So kudos to me for being right ish, kind of. They just need to stay healthy. That's the thing.
Yeah,
They can
they're
get
not in.
healthy, but
They're
I
not
don't.
in yet.
Yeah, they can get healthy, but I don't know if they're going to stay healthy. I'm just saying this is the type of team that I feel they should have been all year, but injuries. But as your point to the game, I might piss off a lot of TikTok people that see this clip and say, "Oh, you're a hater. You don't know football. This or that." Josh Allen played absolutely phenomenal. He played great until he didn't. And I know what do you mean? He listen. And he said it himself in his post game yesterday. He knew the chances that they had that they didn't capitalize on, and that was scoring before the end of the half, and then scoring coming out of the second half.
Because they always do that. They are the best in the NFL
Yeah,
doing that. The double dip.
yeah, and that's what a lot of teams love to double dip, and that's why a lot of teams love to defer to the second half because like we can have a chance of double dipping, whether
Right.
we're up or down, and and I feel like that's where they lost this game because they didn't what they usually do. They didn't,
Right.
and especially with the block punt return for a touchdown that didn't help. But something that you said that can be fixed that I don't know can't be fixed because it's been a problem for years is your run defense. It's been terrible for years against teams that know how to run the football. And I feel like your pass defense is fine. I feel like it had a really off day, but overall, I think they're fine. It's the run defense that I've always been concerned about with Buffalo. Um, but offensively, you guys did everything that you could. A little garbage time yards. I mean, you can down by 17, man. If
Say
you
it.
really think
No, say
if
it.
you
Say
if
it.
you
No, I
if
want
you
you to
if
say
you
it. I
if you
want you
think
to
if
say
you
it.
think about it,
I
listen.
want you to say it.
Buffalo had 14 points midway through the third quarter. So let's not sit here and say they had an offense explosion in the fourth quarter because they were playing from behind. Let's not sit here and say that. Josh Allen had this superhero game, and he's breaking all. He's the first player to do this, the first player to do that, and that means nothing to anybody in that locker room with a loss. Tom Brady threw for 505 yards against the Eagles in a Super Bowl
Yep.
in a loss, but nobody cares about that because they lost. If you ask Josh Allen, what would you rather have? 10 yards passing with a W or what you had yesterday with an L? I'm pretty sure it's going to say 10 yards with a W.
True.
And listen, the rushing touchdowns, maybe I'm a scarred Chiefs fan, but when Larry Johnson had 27 touchdowns back in '05, I think over 20 touchdowns for sure. I don't know the exact amount. Were like within like 3 yards. All his touchdowns were 1 yards, were 1 yard touchdowns. Just quarterback sneaks.
Right.
I'm not saying it's not impressive. I'm just saying let's not. I'm not okay. He scored like he's six whatever 250. I hope he's going to get in there. Which that's kind of what cost them the game because on a quarterback sneak he didn't get in there and McDermott burned a timeout, which I think is something they should have called two plays in the huddle because timeouts you needed those three and he called that timeout when he shouldn't have. They should have got right back up on the line. They should have did three passes in the end zone or at least put Allen on a bootleg and let him make the decision because I'd rather have that. And I get that he already scored three times from there. I'm just saying I don't like that play call. Put it in Allen's hand rolling out so he can either A, throw it to a receiver, B, throw it away if he doesn't see it, or not have a running lane, or if he does have a running lane, just take it and bully somebody over.
Yeah.
But as far as the Rams, I mean, Puka Nacua, man, when he's healthy, man, he can be top five in this league if he can stay healthy. I mean, you look at Stafford yesterday, you had 23 completions. 17 of them were to Cooper Cup and Puka Nacua.
Right.
And they were, I believe the Rams were 11 of 15 on third downs.
Yeah.
That does not help a defense whatsoever. They were running at will. It seems like they were getting 5, 6, 7, 8 yards a clip. Like that's something that has to be fixed. And I don't know if it can be because the Bills, their interior defensive line is not. It doesn't scare anybody from a rushing standpoint if you're on the offense. I don't know if Milano should be playing the amount of snaps that he is right now. I just from what I seen yesterday, just based off of yesterday, he seems a little slow, and I get it. He's got to get his footing back. So why not put Dorian back in there? I feel like he's a better run stopper right now than Matt Milano until Matt Milano gets his footing back. I don't know what they're going to do with Hyde coming back. I don't know if that is Hamlin going to take a back seat. I don't think Rapp is. So I think if anything, he's going to split time. I don't know how they're going to do that with him and Hamlin. I don't know how that's going to work because I feel like Rapp and Hamlin have been a decent duo this year, better than what I feel like what most people expected. So throwing Hyde in there, I don't know if that kind of throws a wrench in whatever the defense is doing. I'm not sure.
No,
I'm not
Hyde
sure.
Micah Hyde is
Yeah.
not ready to play. He's not gonna play.
No. I feel like if anything, the signing was more a boost in the locker room, a familiar face, a
Right.
veteran voice than his play right now.
Right.
Maybe in a couple. Yeah.
Right. Going back to that defense. So they play this bend but don't break defense. So
Mhm.
they'll give you the underneath passes, and then they always hope to stop you in the red zone. And so far throughout the season, that's what they've been doing. So a lot of teams have been getting these big chunks of yards through the running the ball, and normally they will they will prevent a touchdown. So they allow like field goals. Yesterday, obviously, it didn't work because they're allowing touchdowns, and I'm not a big fan of that kind of defense. Bend but don't break, because you
Right.
just let teams move the ball so easy,
Yeah.
and great offenses. If you give them opportunity to move the ball that fast, they're gonna finish touchdowns.
And I think that's the same
So
thing. That's a good point you make because that's the same thing. I feel like the final drive of the the Panthers, the Colorado Panthers, and the Eagles game, they were just going down. They basically, I feel like they want to stop them at the red zone because the way they
right.
were almost 98 yards. It's crazy.
See, I've never coached, But just from watching for over 25 years, I'm like, I don't like that, man. Break